Hello, second grade artists. Today we're going to be talking about two things: symmetry and positive and negative space. First, when you get to your seats, you're going to get a white sheet of paper and you're going to fold it in half to make a little folder for yourself. That's going to store all of the paper that you're going to be using today, because we're going to be using a lot. And then on that paper, make sure you put your name and your class code. So let's just say 2, and today I think is Kennedy, so 2K. But you would put 2 and whatever class code you are, and then put that paper aside. Let's talk about symmetry first. Everybody knows when you fold a piece of paper in half and you draw half of a heart on it, on the fold, and then cut it out, and I'm sure you've done this many times, you get a whole heart that shows symmetry. It actually has a line of symmetry right down the center, and that means it's symmetrical. It's the same on both sides. You can be thinking in your head of some other things that show symmetry. For example, people are symmetrical. If you're to draw a line down the middle of a person's face, they're the same on both sides. They have an eye on each side, part of their nose, part of their mouth, an arm on each side. If you go all the way down the body, a leg on each side. So people are symmetrical. Be thinking about other things that you know of that are symmetrical. The other thing, though, that this little cut heart shows is positive and negative space. Positive space is the actual object, the shape taken up, the space taken up by the actual object. You could pick it up, you could hold it in your hand. Negative space is the hole. It's the space that's empty. There's usually paper around it, but it's the space not taken up by the object. You can't pick that up, right? It's empty. So we have positive and negative space. Now, when you use that technique, there are a couple things that can go wrong. First of all, you have to make sure that you fold the paper and that you draw the heart or whatever you're going to be drawing. And today you're going to see we're going to draw something else. You draw it on the fold. If you don't, let's see what's going to happen. It looks like it should be right. It looks like what I did there. And when I go to cut it out, let's see, am I going to get a solid heart? Nope. I'm going to get 2 parts of a heart because there was no fold to hold it together. And my negative space, although that looks like kind of a cool shape, it's not what I wanted. I don't see the heart on the inside of it or the object that I wanted to cut on the inside of it. So I'm going to put that one aside. The other thing that you might do, fold it in half and draw whatever shape you want. This time I'm going to do a triangle. But what I'm not doing is leaving space at the bottom and the top of the triangle. Let's see, there's space down there. But when I go to cut it out, I'm cutting right off of my paper. Now, I have a solid triangle, my positive space, but look what happened to my negative space. The paper is broken. So I'm going to be showing you some tricks today so that you can make sure that you create one object that shows positive space and a complete paper that shows negative space. On your table, there'll be some pieces of different shades of green paper. You're going to start out by folding them in half. Step 1. Now, on the back board, the whiteboard, I have all of these steps drawn out for you, step by step. So if you don't remember any of them from the video, you can always look back there. This one I'm going to fold long and skinny because I want to make 2 different shaped trees. We're going to be creating positive and negative space trees for our next project. Today, your goal is to cut 3 to 4 trees and to show the positive space and the negative space. I'm going to start out with this one. The next step after I fold it, I'm going to double check where the fold is so I know it's here because I can open up these flaps, is I'm going to draw a dot at the top of my paper so that there's space above it, and at the bottom of my paper so that there's space below it. So my tree is going to fit in that space right there. Then I'm going to draw a triangle. So I'm going to come down and over. Now, that could be a tree, right? That looks like it could be like a pine tree or an evergreen tree that you see outside. You could leave it like that and then you're ready to cut. Or maybe you want to change it a little bit. So maybe I want to make it more like pine tree shaped. You don't have to put a trunk on it, but if you wanted to, you need to make sure that the trunk also goes off the paper, that you're only drawing half of the tree and half of the trunk. All right, so let me do one last check. It's on my fold. It has space above the tree and below the tree, and I have a nice tree shape drawn. Remember, whatever kind of detailed tree you draw, you have to cut out. So you might want to keep it simple at first. Now I'm ready to cut, and I am going to cut in and cut on this line in one piece. I want to cut this tree out in one piece, and I want to keep the negative space in one piece. Okay, so here I have my positive space tree, and here I have my negative space hole, my positive and negative. I'm going to put those two aside. Let me show you one more. So let me check where the fold is. It's there, I know, because I can open those two flaps. I can't open anything on this side. I'm going to put a dot at the top and at the bottom so I know there's space. I'm going to draw my triangle, and now I'm going to change it to make it a little bit more decorative. This time I'm going to create like a, I don't know, maybe like a wavy tree. Okay. Now, when you've drawn your first tree, before you can get a pair of scissors, I want you to have a teacher check your drawing and inspect it to make sure that you drew on the fold and that you have space below and above. If you don't, you're gonna have a mistake and you're gonna get a tree cut out in two pieces, or a tree cut out in one piece, but where you broke the negative space. So make sure you get that first tree inspected in order to get a pair of scissors. So that's kind of an interesting shaped tree. And let me open this one. Ooh, that looks kind of cool too. So, okay, that's what you're gonna spend the class doing today. When you are done and you have 3 to 4 trees cut out, you're gonna take your little folder, you're going to put your trees inside of it and your negative space. You need both of them. Don't throw away your negative spaces. Don't get rid of them. You're going to close it up and then you can put it in the class bin. And that is what we're doing today. And next week, we're going to use these pieces, both the positive and the negative, to create a winter tree scene. Have fun. I can't wait to see what you do.